Hi guys, welcome to Thruzone.com. This is Mohit Soni, and right in front of you is the Range Rover Yoke, something that used to be a style icon, but with this new update, there has been a lot of criticism about the same. But let's jump into the details, and as always, let's begin with the design. And what you can see right in front of you is the head of the car, and what you can see is the grille is typical of any other Range Rover. What you can see now is the headlights here that have now become much more flush fitting, and they immediately remind you of the Velar. And so does the front bumper with this line over here above the number plate, and so does this honeycomb accent on the lower part of the bumper. Those are the skid plates, and that is the vent which is inspired by the Land Rover Discovery. And as you can see from this angle here, there has been a certain amount of change to the window line, but not a big change, and certainly not big of a change when it comes to the metal of the car. But it still remains an Evoque to a certain extent in the way the silhouette is. But what you can see is a lot of elements that are making this car brand new. It's this line running here and this applique here, along with these traditionally in a very traditional Jaguar Land Rover India way, we're getting a very basic set of 18-inch alloy wheels. At the back, again, the mini Velar word comes into your mind with the way the Range Rover is written here and the way the LED headlamps sit here. They look really impressive. The car is extremely attractive, and I must say it's beautiful as well. But it's lost the charm. It's lost the brutal, strong, beefy look that the original Evoque had. It was a huge style statement. It was a very good looking car. Here, this one with the short wheelbase, despite its increase over the previous version, it still continues to be a very short wheelbased car, SUV, and it's just lost that character which was of a muscular yet very stylish looking car. It does look very stylish, but it's now much more discreet to a very large extent in the way it looks. You've got the clamshell bonnet, you've got the power line running here. Overall, very good looking car, but then again, we are one of those people who definitely miss the old Range Rover Evoque. Now let's get into the back, and let's start going through the interior. Now, as you can see, you've got the wash for the camera, reversing camera, parking sensors front and rear, and electronic tailgate. Despite this is the S variant, this is the base variant of the car. As you can see, you're getting around 450 liters of boot space here. Pretty impressive. As you can see, this is the electronic tailgate, and like I told you, this is the S version of the car. So this is the base version of the car. This costs around 58 lakh rupees. And yeah, what you also get is these door handles, which are again inspired by the Range Rover Velar. Getting inside, you can see you've got this texture here, which is now very soft touch than before. We've seen this in previous Range Rovers. This one now is much more softer than the previous one. Earlier it was just a design, now it's also a soft touch material. The soft touch material continues to be seen here as well. Getting inside, sitting in my driving position, I'm 5'11", and very good knee room, good leg room. And let's look at the headroom. Yeah, it's good enough. And you've got a light here, and I think I can be comfortable here for a very long period of time. We just had a very short trip to from Mumbai to Lonavala and back, and everybody seemed very comfortable at the back. You can see below 12-volt socket along with a 5-volt socket here, AC vents, mechanical. You've got this thing here to mount accessories, which is in-car entertainment for air passengers, and if you don't, you can get another 5-volt USB charging socket here. Coat hook is seen here. Grab handles are here instead of here because you have the airbag. And yeah, you've got 3 headrests, 3 seat belts, and there's a cup holder here, and there's no access to the boot though. I think this is because it's the base variant. And yeah, this overall black and grey interior seems to be looking really good. Let me try and show you the dashboard design from this angle. It looks very clean, very minimalistic, and very high quality at the same time. Let me go in the front and tell you more about it. As you can see, the doors shut, very hard, build quality is amazing. This new steering wheel design continues from many other Range Rovers that we've driven, and it looks really, really good. You've got power seats, but no adjustment for bolsters or lumbar, nor there is extra under thigh support. Let's get into the car. Start the car as well. And as you can see, the dials at the front are simple dials because it's the S variant. You don't get the digital cluster, which you will get only in the SRE R dynamic variant, and we'll let you know when we get to experience that part. But what we've experienced and what you will see in all variants is this button on the steering wheel. It's basically a screen. It changes and you can go through a whole host of options here, and you can control it via like this. Display, vehicle settings, vehicle info, driver assistance includes lane keep assist, and collision avoidance, steering assistance. So if you are about to touch the curb on the right hand side of the road, it will steer you back in the left lane, and I think that's a really good thing. It can warn you all the time as well if you press this button here. As you can see, it just went activated over there, and you can see the orange light. That's the limiter, cruise control, and this is the call button, this is the voice command, and this takes you to the back screen. So yeah, that's it's basic. It's from the previous generation in terms of this dials and this info that we are seeing here, but it's still got the new set of features here. Obviously the R Dynamic SE variant would have more features. This is the screen which does not move lower, up, anything like that, because the dashboard also in the R Dynamic is very different. Here you get a directly mounted screen on this inside. It looks really nice in this sort of hemmed in inside the cavity here. And what you can see, you've got 3 screens here. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Mirror Link is available. You can see the eco data for the way you've been driving. Go back. Ambient lighting, like I said, you've got the usual 10 colors to choose from. You can keep it how bright you want in the night. You've got navigation, you've got Bluetooth, you've got Land Rover's sound system here. So Land Rover says it's a Land Rover sound system. So I think this sounds pretty good to me. But it could have been better for a car of this size and price. But anyways, the R Dynamic variant will get the Meridian system, which is also again could have been better. What you get here is this new gear lever, which is replacing the other gear lever, and in some cars the rotary dial. And yeah, we all miss that with the popping up vents and the popping up gear lever. But then this also looks very nice, good to touch, good to feel. Does its job really well. This aluminum finish looks really impressive. This Land Rover used to be engraving used to be a button, but now it's not. You've got cup holders here, 12-volt socket. You've got stuff to keep here, and if you don't want that, you can cover it. You can cover it like this. And you've got space here, USB charging sockets, and everything else. That's the second screen for the AC, and that's the recirculation button on. You press this button here, you get to choose eco mode along with auto mode, and that is the grass gravel mode, mud ruts and sand. These are the usual modes that you get in all Range Rovers. That's the traction control, that's the hill descent, that's the engine start stop button. Press this button and then you can adjust the AC blower as well. That's how you shut it entirely. And overall the AC works really well. And most importantly, before I forget, that's the large panoramic sunroof on offer. And it's a fixed one, the glass doesn't come out. So all you can do is enjoy, at least on this variant, enjoy the look outside the glass and not pop out your head, which is not a really good thing to do as well on our roads. Glove box, good size. You've got a lot of space in those door pockets there. Let me show you that. And overall, like I said, in terms of features, Land Rover's own sound system, this infotainment system, as always, it's good. Sometimes it can be, in the beginning it feels nice, but as soon as you keep getting used to it, well, it can feel a bit slow to it compared to its rivals. It's gotten much better than before though. There is a level of consistency in the way it works and how smooth, easy and fast and tactile the response is. And that's a welcome move from JLR. And yeah, got a sunglass holder here. You've got 8 airbags and ABS CVT along with traction control, brake assist and everything else. You've got an electronic park brake, and you've got an auto hold system in this car, so there's no button for that. And JLR has done a fantastic job in not giving it the button. Usually other cars have buttons and you have to press them, but here if you hold on to the brake pedal for some time and you are in drive mode, it will go into hold automatically after some time. So, and even if you don't it will show hold as soon as it comes in, I think, the next 15-20 seconds, and then you can take off the foot of the pedal and it will not move. We tried it on a slope as well, uphill and downhill, and it worked really well, and I think that's a welcome move from JLR. And speaking of driving, let's like I told you and I showed you earlier here, you've got driving modes, and let's not forget what we forget most of the time with JLR cars is that they are fantastic off-road. You've got these drive modes that work really well. This car has a even this S version has a standard all-wheel drive on this car, and what makes this car very impressive is the way it drives. So when it comes to driving, what we're driving here is the BS6 version of the 2-liter diesel Engineer motor, which makes 180 PS of power and 430 Newton meters of torque. That's a bit more torque than most of its rivals, and it's less on horsepower than some of its rivals by only 10 horsepower. And what does the new engine tell us? It's mated to a new 9-speed gearbox, and the engine now is refined. Much more refined than before. It's not that it doesn't have that lumpiness in the power delivery, so it is still there. You can still feel that it's in the back end, but it's not in your face anymore. That's the most important part. A quick off the line, good power delivery, linear, smooth. The NVH levels are much better than before. Even at mid-range and high-end, the NVH levels from the engine, let's say the engine noise to be very specific, has been lowered down, along with is what we feel over the previous version. And the gearbox, it's always been a bit criticized because it is a bit slow when you're in a hurry. When you're driving normally in the city and making small overtaking maneuvers, this gearbox will help you do that really well. But in this segment, there are much faster gearboxes. This gearbox does its job, but it doesn't do it really well. And I think most of the owners will not be that won't feel bad about that, because most of the time we're commuting and driving. We're not on a racetrack where we require impeccable shifts all the time. Sure, you can put it in the gearbox in sport mode. You can't put the engine in sport mode because you don't have one for this car right now. And the gearbox in sport mode will make sure that you can get faster shifts than compared to the regular version, and that will make things much better even if you're on a racetrack, much better on the road as well. Steering, it doesn't weigh up, but the feedback is good enough, not great. It's light and precise for our city duties, and it does inspire confidence. What inspires confidence is the fantastic chassis as always. It's very taut, ride quality is excellent, body roll is bare minimum, and it's a really fun to drive car, along with a short wheelbase that the Evoque is always known for. Despite it's increased a bit on this car here, it's a very short wheelbase car, so maneuvering it in the city, taking U-turns is an absolute breeze, along with the steering effort being so less. And brakes are good, tires are good, stability on the highway is good, and like I said in the beginning, let's not forget it's a Range Rover, it's a Land Rover, so off-roading capabilities are really good. You've got those modes, they work really well. We've tried some off-roading. This car, any Range Rover, Land Rover has never disappointed us in the way it tackles off-road situations, and that's what makes this Evoque a very good proposition in its category. It's got unparalleled off-roading capability. Whenever you would like to do it, this car will do it with the same setup. No need to change tires or anything like that. It's got a fantastic highway stability. It's got good ride quality for our broken roads. It's comfortable, it's refined, the NVH levels have gone down, the engine has been improved, the gearbox has been improved, so the improvement level is very high, and that's what makes the Evoque much more desirable than before. This new generation may not appeal to the critics and the old school boys and girls, but it will definitely get the attention of the youth and the people who've always liked the Evoque for its silhouette, and that's where you can consider the Range Rover Evoque if you are in this segment of cars and considering a car between 60 to 70 lakhs. I think that is it. Thank you so much for watching our video. Make sure you like this video, comment if you still want to ask us something, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell and follow us on social media. Again, thank you so much for watching and goodbye.